Okay, Rex, three questions. You started off and you said that the atheists condemn God. I mean, I don't even know how you would condemn God. That doesn't make much sense. I would dismiss the idea, not condemn God. I don't even get what that's supposed to mean. How does evolution disprove God? It doesn't. It disproves Genesis. And some sects of Christianity have a big stink about that because there's a notion of original sin or something. Jews and Muslims don't take too much offense about it, and I think the Catholic Church has actually adopted evolution as fact. So some sects of Christianity have a problem with evolution, but evolution doesn't disprove the existence of God. It just disproves Genesis. Why is the jump from ape to man so improbable? I've seen these figures that you're referring to, and it's actually yes, it is a calculation. It's the calculation of a single step mutation from ape to man, and that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. That sort of that's not how mutations in DNA work. Mutations in DNA happen like one or two letters at a time. You know, the letters are G, A, T, C, and mutations in DNA happen at fairly regular intervals. We can observe that in the lab, and then you just add those up over a great deal of time, and then you've got your jump from, it's not a jump, it's a slow crawl from ape-like ancestor to current day man. And it's natural selection's a slow process. We can use the same sorts of mutations in DNA in selective breeding, in artificial selection to make different breeds of dogs or cattle, stuff like that. We can do it a lot faster because we're actively designing what we want. But natural selection is just it's a goalless type of physical pressures by the environment thing. So it takes a long time to get the result. And using the word like result doesn't even make any sense. There's no goal in mind. It's just whatever happens to work best at the time. So that's why natural selection takes a lot longer. We could use the same mutational abilities of DNA when we're actively breeding animals. So we can see the mechanisms happening. It doesn't have a zero probability. I mean, that's why we have different breeds of dogs. Even the different races of people that we see on the planet is evidence of variation in the genetic code that happens over time. And your third point was about chemistry, about atoms, and it's the same type of mistake to make. It's not a single jump we're making here. We don't have to, physically put all of the atoms in exactly the right spot in one go. We don't have to do that. Atoms themselves, based on the family that they're in and the way that their electrons are arranged, will bond in certain shapes. So that limits your options right there. And not only will they bond, but given the chance, they definitely will bond. So like carbon, for instance, which is prevalent in protein because it's an organic molecule, carbon will bond to anything it could find, especially itself. And it'll bond to itself for infinity if you let it. And it just does it because that's how it completes its electron orbit. It's a more comfortable place for the carbon atom to be is bonded to something else. So it's natural. That's the physics of it. That's the atomic physics of the chemistry behind organic molecules chaining together like that. And so we don't have to put the atoms in exactly the right spots. I mean, they'll just work themselves out that way. That's the way that they just tend to do it. You could probably attribute that to a deity if you want to, but I think if you understand the physical properties of the atoms themselves, you'll see that to assign God to a kind of like child playing with Lego blocks type of position isn't very satisfying, given the monotheistic idea of a deity. It's not. It doesn't fulfill what you see in the text. It doesn't make much sense. It's a lot easier to think of it as just the natural way that things work, just like gravity works because mass warps space. That's the natural way of things. Atoms bond together in certain ways because that's how they're shaped. That's how they bond. So inserting a god into chemistry, it doesn't make much sense considering religious tradition in the monotheistic Abrahamic vein. It's unnecessary.